So I got my haircut today, and I realized that with the frequency with which I'm making these videos, you guys will get to see every change in my appearance as I make it. Which, for some strange reason, I found a little bit uncomfortable. So I think I'm just gonna start lying about random parts of my appearance, just to regain a little bit of sanity. For instance, I definitely have human legs. Yep, those are regular, normal, human legs. Are they buying it? Welcome back to the Book Cafe, where we review fantasy books, talk magic, and occasionally interview an author if we're extremely lucky. If this is your first time here, consider subscribing, and if not, welcome back, which I already said. The book we're reading today is called The Warded Man by Peter V. Brett, and I'm very excited to tell you about this one. I've only ever heard about it from one source, and I feel like it deserves a little more recognition. Now, if you're like me, when you hear the word demons involving a book, you're going to have a lot of expectations about what kind of book that is. I was pleasantly surprised to find that those expectations were almost totally incorrect. Here's how the book works. A couple hundred some odd years before the book begins was an age of scientific progress, a lot like our own, which ended when all of a sudden a bunch of demons started coming out of the ground. Fast forward a few centuries, and civilization has utterly devolved. Demons, or corelings, come out every night and basically kill and or eat every human that they can get their hands on, and the only way to stop them is with magical wards. But humanity has no weapons capable of fighting a demon, only shields, and the shields are dangerously easy to break. So these demons have absolutely no sense of subtlety, just overwhelming, destructive, rampaging desire. But they all melt in sunlight, so they all disappear at sunrise. There are three main characters, all of whom survive fairly horrific demon attacks at the beginning of the novel. Now, you'd expect fighting the demons to be a very significant part of this story, and I imagine that in the later books it is. But what makes this particular book interesting is that fighting the demons doesn't come in until much later in the plot. The really important bits center around what it's like to live and grow up in a world where every night unstoppable monsters come out of the ground with the intent of eating your entire village. It's a world where trade is immensely difficult. Getting from village to village is an ordeal, because unless you can get to the next village in under a day, you're screwed. And every night there's a chance that the magic that's shielding your village will fail, and hundreds of people will die. As you can imagine, there's a bit of a stressful situation for anyone to grow up in. And that's what makes it so interesting. One of the great things about this book is that the main character's motivations for becoming heroes don't feel shoehorned. You've got the kind of typical farm boy becomes chosen one kind of plot, but while Luke Skywalker or Richard from the Sword of Truth or Shannara all sort of get chosen by destiny, the heroes here are just the ones who say, we can't live like this anymore. There has to be something better. There has to be a way to fight back. There's no wise old wizard coming to take them in and tell them about their destinies. And any magic that they find has to be either scavenged or taken by force from the demons that want them dead. It's elegant and simple and yet completely unconventional. It does away with a lot of the extraneous elements of modern fantasy. The writing is good. It's unobtrusive, which means it's not bad. It's not necessarily spectacular, but it's very, very good. To the point where the writing itself sort of takes a backseat to everything else that's going on, which is great. The world building is excellent. I've mentioned in a previous video world builder syndrome, where an author tries to stuff too much lore in at once, which only leads to the reader's attention dropping. This is a world where the rate and the manner in which the lore is uncovered makes a great deal of sense, because these are children learning about how the world around them works. And not everyone even knows how the world around them works. There's a lot of secrets, there's a lot of lies, there's a lot of stuff that got lost. Now, the book abruptly shifts from coming of age to epic about 3/4 of the way through, and it's a little bit clumsy. It seems like they had to cut out a rather significant chunk of the book, probably because it got too long. Personally, I don't feel like it diminished the quality all that much. Some of you may think differently. Some of you may feel that the main character became a little bit overpowered towards the end. But all in all, my impression of the book is it's inventive without being weird. It's a good read, and it sucks you in, and it's definitely worth checking out. If you're interested, Amazon link is below. If you've read The Warded Man, or any of the Demon Cycle, tell me what you thought in the comments, or just suggest a book you'd like me to review. Remember to like and subscribe and click on the dragon. And if you like this, watch more videos from Book Cafe here. Thanks for sticking with me for the new update schedule, and I will see everyone on Thursday. Until then, read good fantasy.